Good to go? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Art.
Here.
Ms. Cook. Present. Ms. Eisenhart. Here. Ms. Falcone. Here. Mr. Haney.
Here.
Ms. Hassler. Here. Mr. Miller.
Here.
Ms. Palmer. Here.
Okay, hearing of visitors. This is a budget meeting, so if you have a question on the budget you would like to address the council and you're a resident of Topton, you can have 4 minutes each to address the council. Would anybody like to ask a question? Go ahead, Monica, please state your name and address so that the recorder can pick you up.
Monica Coco, 405 West Berkeley Street. TCOC, I had inquired about the donation for that before, and you indicated all was pulled from the budget.
No, we left some money in to cover policing.
Okay. Then make sure you don't say nothing next time, because I saw that. You said all funding was pulled before. So at last meeting, this does have to do with budget. The offer to the employees, at the end of the meeting, it was found out that they never got that offer. Was it looked into as to how or why that occurred? Like who's not,
That's
I realize,
incorrect information.
excuse me,
That's incorrect.
what's incorrect?
Our attorney forwarded the offer, which is not the pie chart, forwarded the offer to the union representative.
But that wasn't the pie chart offer.
The pie chart was to represent what it cost the borough for that offer.
Okay, so that's all kind of different than what was said before.
No, it's not.
So there's still nothing in regard to any kind of contract.
We're waiting for a reply from the union.
Okay, so those figures really aren't the offer, as it says on the top of the paper.
That is representative of the cost of the offer, yes.
But that's not how that was worded, just so you know. And that's current offer to the union employee included in the budget. Union employee total wage benefit expense for 5 employees.
There's a lot more in the contract than that. It's included in the budget. The budget's the keyword. It's what we're.
But these figures really aren't what was offered to them.
That's our cost.
Okay, well, I'll let it go. Okay,
Okay,
that's it.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we'll move on. Committee reports, personnel and policy, Ms. Falcone.
Okay, so a request for an exception to the unused comp time is what I want to talk about for 3 of our employees.
Yes, I'd like to get a motion to discuss and approve the carryover comp time for those employees. Can I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, any discussion?
So Stacy, is this comp time from what time, do you know when it was accumulated? Was it during the last quarter of this year? Or
I would have to, that,
Okay, it wasn't just, that's okay,
I would have to do research on that.
I would like to know, how do they accumulate comp time instead of overtime or?
It's their choice in the current handbook policy. That was in addition to the handbook of 48 pages. It was a supplemental where they have a choice to take it
to have
as
it paid out
overtime
or,
or double time or comp time.
but it's never at regular time? Like an extra day off or comp time?
It would probably be equal to what they earned it at.
Right, so if they only earned an hour, they get comp time at an hour. If they got
Okay.
wage, you know, that would be the wage equivalent.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Now, our policy says that the use of comp time must be approved by the borough manager, and the borough may elect to pay our accumulated compensatory time in wages if it is determined to be in the best interest of the borough to do so. And the borough reserves the right to limit and or amend the guidelines regarding comp time, or we could eliminate it. But this isn't about that. This is, what do we want to do with some that's been accumulated by our workers and they haven't been able to use it? Because we've had some guys that were out, we've had shortage people, so we need to talk about how we're going to handle that.
yeah, I'm in favor
Yes.
of rolling it over.
I mean, I am as well. Now, how long do we want to roll it over? Just to be used up within the first quarter of this coming year? Is that,
I think as the handbook states, March 31st.
yeah, that's what it states.
Yes.
Will it all get used up by March 31st? I mean, does any of them have a lot that it's gonna, that it will go past March 31st possibly?
They can accumulate up to 40 hours. Do you know what we currently have, Stacy? How many hours?
Okay, so if we're just talking about comp time and only comp time and nothing else, Mr. Sicker has 12 and a half comp time at the writing of my email to council on December 5th. Mr. Stelz had comp time in the amount of 34 hours at the time of the writing on December 5th.
And it's their time, they earned it.
Yeah,
Oh, absolutely,
Yes, they
absolutely,
are
that's not a
that.
dispute. It's just how do we want to handle it as far as letting them use it?
In my opinion, I'm in favor of rolling it over for them, but it must be used in the first quarter, and if it isn't, they'll lose it.
Yeah,
So keep going.
we need to stick with the handbook.
What does the handbook say? Used in the first
Just
quarter.
what you said there.
Yeah,
Excuse me, can I comment on that?
no, not now,
After?
no.
Ever?
Public comment is over, I'm sorry.
So I'm in favor of that.
Yeah,
That's an employee, not public.
okay, I'm gonna call a vote. All in favor?
Wait, I mean, Alex could have an answer to my question.
As far as getting it.
Oh, do you have a question for Alex?
How much comp time do you have?
I have no comp time, but I got like a 4 weeks vacation time. There's no way I'm gonna be able to use 4 weeks in a quarter. I couldn't use 4 weeks all year. There's nobody down there to take over for me. I'm the certified operator. I don't know what you're expecting. I think I've been more than fair by making sure I come in every day and do my job. And you're trying to tell me I'm gonna lose it? Because there's no way I'm gonna be able to take it.
I believe the handbook has a provision to ask again. Does it not?
We
Once,
discussed that last time. We can certainly discuss it if you want to do it as a separate, something separate, since this is about comp time. Let's
Yeah,
finish
we-
this and we can
Yeah,
discuss that.
Thank you.
that's,
'Cause-
Thank you.
Yeah, let's discuss that again and see what we can do for something.
Could I-
to do.
Could I ask you how long Kyle was being trained before you were taking time off?
It was about, well, before I could actually take vacation, he wasn't fully trained yet. This was 5.5
But
months.
you could take a day off on the weekend?
I could,
Take
yes,
weekends
yes.
off?
Yes, I had about, probably had about 6 weekends off. At the most.
After how much training? A couple months or?
About 3 months. But he was limited in what he could do without me there.
Alex, may I ask you a
Yes.
question? How long do you think it would take you to take your vacation?
I don't know when I'm gonna have a chance. Honest, I don't know when.
Okay.
Basically, he's still in the same boat, the way I
Yes.
hear it.
Yes.
Let's work on the comp time, now then we can open up a motion to talk about the vacation, because that's important, we gotta figure something out.
we ready to vote on the comp time? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, what I'd like to do is, based on our recommendation, I'd like to strike, what's the appropriate thing to do? Just strike the compensatory time policy off the agenda? We're not gonna discuss that.
You could table it, or you can
That was,
revise the
Table it
agenda,
for
or revise
That was-
the agenda, removing it.
yeah, I'd like to revise the agenda, removing that, as per the recommendation of our attorney. And now, do you wanna address the vacation time now?
Yeah, so if we could take a motion to discuss vacation.
Okay, can I have a motion to discuss vacation time carryover?
I'll make a motion.
Second? Okay, discussion.
So we have a couple options, right? One option would be that we could get another operator in who's licensed so that our guy could take his vacation. We'd have to, we could talk to another company to get somebody in there to relieve him for his time so he can have his time. That's one option. Second option would be to extend the time period, right? So instead of 1 quarter, we could give him additional time. But if he's saying that it's 3 months that he had someone working under him and he still wasn't able to do anything really other than a weekend off. I mean, the reality that giving him more time, we really should have a licensed operator there. Maybe we could see if we could get Arrow in there for a period of time to work so he could take a vacation day. I mean, there's a cost to that, but it's not his fault that he hasn't been able to take vacation. It's a circumstance. The other option would be to financially compensate him, which our book does not state to do that. That would be an option. And Stacy, please, any other options?
That's the option I was going to suggest, because if you're weighing the option of paying an outside contractor versus paying an employee.
I understand that, but, I mean, you know, we have a guy who's not getting on vacation, and that's not really fair to him. I know there's an expense to it, I'm just saying.
I'm saying, if you're gonna pay Arrow, and Arrow will probably be
Oh, yeah, I know.
more expensive and not be able to do everything that Alex
Well,
does,
can we-
then why not consider paying the employee?
Can we allow Alex to speak to you in private? And then come back at the next meeting with a recommendation? Because it's already extended to the first quarter. You can talk to Stacy, decide what your preferences really are, and we can vote for it in the meeting in January.
And
Thank you.
if a payout would be the option, it would be non-president setting. That would mean
I
it
don't
would be
understand.
a one-time,
We have to talk.
I understand.
we have to do that.
I'm gonna say, based upon guidance from our attorneys, we have to stick with the handbook.
So this will give us time to find out more information, but I think that we need to do something here.
Well, that way Alex has time to consider his options.
Right,
We have time to consider our options.
yeah.
Do you have time, Alex, to meet with Stacy and
Yeah.
discuss it with her?
Yeah, we put it on the agenda for January's meeting.
And then we'll have an idea once if we have.
That will give us time to investigate the, costs and.
So, one way or the other, we can accommodate something.
So at this point, do you wanna approve it through the quarter or just table it until January?
I wouldn't mind extending it, or, I mean, there's no rush. I'm sure it might be stressful for Alex, but
What about if we approve it for the first quarter and
it's already
It's already
approved.
and then we just come back and discuss it then, whatever he decides with Stacy, and we discuss it in January then.
It's already approved to March 30.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm just saying that we just discuss it, and if he can take some of the stays, you know. I'm sure he would appreciate that
I'm
too.
open to extending the deadline, but before we pay it out, we should talk to our attorney because of the status of negotiations. We have to try and keep everything the same.
We may just need to extend it to additional
I don't have a problem with that,
Yeah, me either, so let's look at it a little more closely.
as long as we don't set a precedence,
Yeah,
I really don't care.
we can't, we have to be careful. Because of the union, we need to now check with the attorney to see this
Yeah.
item.
Either way, we'll address it.
Thank you.
Okay, Finance Committee, Ms. Hassler.
I would like to make a motion to adopt the 2025 budget as presented tonight.
I'll second that. Any discussion?
I've been getting a lot of questions from residents about our budget and how it relates to different things. I just want the public to know that our budget is an assumption of the amount of money we're gonna need for different expenses throughout the year. We take a look at how much revenue comes in. If you look at the first page of our budget, it gives you all the revenue sources we have. We have very limited revenue sources. Our two primary revenues are from our real estate that everyone pays and who lives in our town. And the other big one is earned income tax. And those monies, we are hopeful to get the majority of those to pay our bills. But we really don't know how much money we're gonna have because it depends on people paying their bills to us. Historically, Stacy's done a wonderful job of putting this budget together. She looks back 4 or 5 years to see what percentage of revenue we can count on from each of these sources. We know that with real estate taxes, fortunately, we have about 97% of our money comes in on time. So that's a really important thing because that's $550,000 worth of revenue. Our budget has to cover employees, operating expenses, and projects that are outstanding and that we're in the middle of. So there's a lot of monies that come in that are dedicated to certain purposes. So when we get a grant, our budget, our total budget might state that it's $3.5 million roughly, but that doesn't mean that that's money that's available for anybody and everybody. So basically, that's the total number, but when you start whittling away at our operating expenses, things like heating this building, having street lighting, fuel for our vehicles, salt for the roads, all those things are standard operating expenses. So when we come down to it, we have a limited percentage of budget to use in each area. And I don't think that some people understand that we're working with hypothetical numbers that we hope are accurate. And we're working with expenses, we're not really sure what things are going to cost. So because of that, we have to put our numbers out there, and we have to hope and pray that it all works out okay. So I just wanted people to know that a balanced budget simply means we're not in the red, we're not negative. We are expecting to have enough revenue to cover our expenses, and we have to have a little bit of cushion there because we don't know what some of our expenses are. So Stacy, thank you very much. This is a wonderful budget, and all these attachments are excellent to see with all the expenses laid out. So I just wanted to put that out there since I had a number of people that were asking me about the budget out there in town. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll just comment that we made Stacy work her ass off for this budget, so
Yes, that she
we
did.
appreciate all your hard work.
Yes.
Thanks.
So,
Did an excellent job.
Could I ask, for the water main, item 448.720, it mentions 227, almost 228,000 for East Barclay Street. Do we have anything in here for Keller Street, the water main? Okay.
We applied for grant funding and did not receive any grant funding for Keller Street, only approximately 53% of what we asked for East Barclay, and then recently sent in another application for the rest.
Keller Street is urgent.
There's a lot of things that are urgent.
Okay, thank you, that's what I was wondering.
okay. Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? carried. Okay, utilities. I would like to ask for a motion for the purchase of the equipment. Am I saying that right? For the equipment for the pump station.
And to authorize Stacy to sign for that.
The quotation.
I'll make a motion.
I'm not sure I understand.
I'll second.
Authorize you to do what?
To sign the quotation as,
Oh, okay.
as copied and given to you in the packet for today.
Did I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Any discussion?
There's quite a lot on this.
Did you want Charlie to review any of it?
Does anybody have any questions? I'm good with it. I looked it over.
Our lawyer looked it over.
And the attorney looked it over. I'd love to get something moving.
Let's get the ball rolling.
Ready to vote?
Can you give a little explanation of what you're doing there?
This is a pump station,
Mm-hmm.
purchase of the equipment.
And then our guys do the work, or how's?
No,
No, we will have a contractor do the work.
Okay.
so Charlie, is this,
Fees? I mean,
is this
no details given. on anything.
precipitating, a bid for the construction?
So this will then be rolled into a new bid for the construction. We're working through with DEP, the scope reduction.
This is so we
This
can,
is the long-term.
long lead items.
If you look, it's in the 20s of weeks to get the equipment, and that's regardless of anybody. This was actually the shorter, we had one that was closer to 40 to 50 weeks out. So,
And we'll save the markup,
so
so it's a win-win.
the big deal was starting that clock on the
Yeah.
equipment.
Did we get any feedback on somebody who could weld
Oh,
the
that's,
pressure tank?
not yet, but we're working on it still. And that would be temporary repair on the old equipment.
Right, temporary, a year or two, or no?
As long as it takes.
Just wondering if you needed to, I know it's 20 weeks waiting time, I didn't know, you know about that.
We're gonna
I didn't know.
proceed with the repairs as soon as we can get a contract.
Great, perfect,
So we need to do that regardless of this,
right,
because the time span is so far.
thank you.
May I answer a question
Yeah.
for Monica quick? I think what you're asking is, this is for the parts and things that are needed for the pump station.
Mm-hmm.
It is actually saving money by us purchasing them and having them here ahead of time rather than putting everything out on bid and having them purchase, have the contractor purchase the equipment that's needed there. Now, if you need to know what the actual equipment is, I'll have to let Charlie.
No,
explain
that's
that.
okay. It's just that, I mean, before I had mentioned you bring things up and there's no detail given to
Yeah,
us
that's-
about
it's-
anything.
It's the equipment that's needed for the pump station
Thank you.
to repair it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we're going to adjourn into executive session for, union negotiation discussions. And then at the end of that, if anybody's still around, we'll call you back in for adjournment.
Any action gonna be taken? Or it's just adjournment?
No, it's not after,
Yeah, it'll just be the adjournment.
it'll just be adjournment.